Hey guys, this is Malice, aka Brian. Today we're going to talk about some tips for brand new players to Marvel Rivals. And this is going to be a new series that I'm going to start doing called Bottom 500 Yap Sessions, where we just talk about a random topic and I'll show some of my mid gameplay. First of all, I know that when you're brand new to Marvel Rivals, the game can seem pretty overwhelming. We're already going into season 9.5. I know there's tons of videos out there, tons of information. There's a lot of heroes to choose from. So today we're just going to talk about a couple of the very basics. And again, this is for brand new players. If you've been playing for a long time, there might be a couple things in here that help you, but this is mainly going to be for people that are totally new to the game and just trying to figure out what's going on, and hopefully some things to speed up your learning curve so that you guys can start to rank up and start to win more games. It can definitely be tough when you're new and you have teammates yelling at you and people playing on alt accounts in lower ranks that know a lot about the game and they are yelling at you. One of the first tips is going to be that if this is something you're experiencing, you can go ahead and you can mute people in voice chat and text chat, and you can just mute voice chat altogether. When you're learning and you're new, the last thing you need is somebody screaming at you, telling you to swap, telling you every single thing that you're doing wrong and that you're terrible at the game. That is definitely not going to help you. It's not going to help your mental, and it's more than likely just going to make you not want to play the game. So just remember that you don't have to sit there and argue with these people. You don't have to listen to people arguing with other people, even if it doesn't involve you directly. And I definitely advise not really getting involved in doing that if you're serious about trying to learn the game. All that's going to do is derail your progress. It's going to get you frustrated. You're going to start playing worse. And it's just overall going to be a negative for you. So go into your settings and you can go to your audio settings and you can just flat out disable voice chat, or if you want to, you can just remember to mute people if they start talking or giving communication that you are not interested in. So the next tip is going to be your hero pool. When you're first starting off, it may be tempted to either just only play one hero that you get comfortable with and then you just only stick to that one hero, or I'll see people jumping around and literally trying every hero in the game. And honestly, neither of those are a great solution. What I would advise, before you can even get to ranked, you have to get to level 15. So if you're still in that journey, then I would recommend trying to learn, starting off with just one hero in each role. Just pick one Vanguard, one DPS, one support. This game will require you to be flexible, even though there are some people out there that decide to only play one character. That will make it really tough on your teams, and it will make it really tough on you being able to climb in a lot of situations, because there will be situations where none of your teammates will swap, and simply by swapping, you can win more games. And it doesn't mean that as soon as you go into a match and you walk out and you guys lose the first fight that you're like, oh no, I've got to change my hero, and you instantly swap all the time. Try to avoid swapping every time something goes wrong. But one of the things that's key about swapping is realizing when it is a good time to make a swap. And that is if you are hard countered and you are walking out and there's one hero that is focusing you and you're literally walking out and struggling against that player every single fight over and over, that's usually a good indication for you that it's a good time to swap. Don't get in the habit. You'll see teammates where they play literally 7 characters, 7 heroes in one match. You don't want to be that person either. So it's a little bit of game sense, and it's a little bit of just time playing to realize when the right time to swap and the right time to stay on your hero. But having a little bit of flexibility will really help you here. So I think starting off with one hero in each role that you play a little bit with and at least get comfortable with their basic abilities. It doesn't mean you have to master them and you have to know them inside and out, but at least have one hero in each role that you would feel comfortable just going to if you are in a worst case scenario where no one on your team wants to swap. You only have one support, but you're a tank player, and now you're kind of selling yourself short and you're not giving yourself a chance. Really, in ranked, unless you're queuing with friends or at least one other person, solo queue can be pretty tough. But giving yourself that flexibility to at least know one hero in each role, you can start to recognize situations where it will benefit you to swap to another hero or another role. And starting off with 3 doesn't overwhelm you to where you're trying to learn so many different abilities and so many different ultimates and heroes all at the same time. 3, I think, is a reasonable number to start off with. And if you get really comfortable with those 3 and you're like, hey, I want to, there's another hero I want to try out, then definitely do that. But by limiting it to only 3 heroes, you're going to get enough time on each hero where you'll be able to get pretty proficient on each one. And also by not just limiting yourself to only one hero where you're really pigeonholed in. And you have to keep in mind, once you get to gold in rivals and ranked, people can start banning, and there's 3 bans on each team. So there's a pretty good chance that your hero is going to get banned. Depending on who they are, they might get banned almost every match, or you may just run into the occasional ban once in a while, but it's still good to have someone that you feel comfortable swapping to. Once you get a little further on in the game, say you want to be a support main or strategist main, knowing at least 3 heroes in your main role and then maybe 2 in your flex role, say you flex to tank, knowing 2, that gives you even more options. But you don't want to overwhelm yourself trying to learn too many heroes at first, so I would just recommend sticking to the 3 when you're brand new. So that tip was kind of 2 in 1. We talked about your hero pool and we talked about swapping, which could have been its own tip, but I feel like it goes in well with hero pool. So tip number 2, we're going to talk about positioning. And a lot of times when you play in the lower ranks, you will just see people kind of walk out of spawn. They're just walking right down the main walkway of whichever map you're on, and they just kind of do that over and over, and pretty much that's a lot of what you're going to see, especially in bronze. And that's totally okay, but one thing that you do want to be aware of when you're first starting to play is using your positioning behind pieces of cover on the map. Now this could be a pillar, this could be a wall, it could be anything that's on the map. It could be the actual objective, the cart. So there are different things that you can use to position yourself from enemy fire and enemy damage to where you can stay alive for longer. This is, to me, one of the things that I wish that I knew sooner. And when I first started playing, I came over from another game. I didn't play any other hero shooters like Overwatch or anything like that before I came to Rivals. So this concept was pretty new to me. I had played some other shooter games, so I was aware of, playing behind cover a little bit, but it's especially apparent, and it's especially important in a hero shooter like Marvel Rivals. So just knowing that you should be playing behind cover as much as possible. And one good rule to keep in mind that has helped me a lot is you never want to be more than 1 second away from cover. So what does that mean? If you are out in the wide open and it's going to take you 3 seconds to run to get behind something, if the other team were to start pushing you and they start to team up on you, then you're most likely going to be dead. So you want to try to, at all times, try to stay within as close to 1 second away from some kind of cover. It doesn't have to be somewhere totally safe where you can go and none of the enemy team can see you. You can still be somewhat out in the open or be able to see the other team, but somewhere where you can get behind something to protect you from damage if your health gets low. That's going to lead us right into tip 3, and that is die as little as possible. Stay alive. One thing that I can guarantee you is that the less amount of times you can start to teach yourself to unnecessarily die in Rivals, the faster you will climb. your most important ability in Marvel Rivals is your availability. And if you are dead every fight and you're constantly walking all the way back from spawn to get back to the fight to either help your teammate or take out the enemy team, you are constantly leaving your team at a disadvantage. And that is in itself going to lose you more games. Now, this also doesn't mean that you have to play so scared to die that you're not even involved in the fight. You want to be helping your team, you want to be close to cover, but you also don't want to be sitting in spawn trying to heal your team without ever walking out of the doors. And another sub element of positioning is not only being close to cover, but also where you should be within your own team. Tanks are meant to take and block damage, so your tank should always be up front. You will have different DPS like Spider-Man or other flank DPS players like Magic or Psylocke, and you may see them go off and do their own thing. And a lot of times when you're a new player, that will kind of stress you out. You're like, hey, you're not staying with the team. But there are certain DPSs that this is their strength, is having the ability to get behind the enemy lines and get out and get back to your team for healing or get back to your team to help. But just be aware that some DPSs will flank, and you, if you're playing support, for instance, you don't have to go and run and follow those mobility DPSs all around the map. You want to stay, typically for support players, you want to be behind your tanks and your DPS. There are certain times where you can play more aggressively. You see the enemy team is down low, all of your team is healed up. You can push up, you can get aggressive. You don't have to just stay a mile in the back. And another thing that goes along with that for support players, if the enemy team is diving you, meaning they are attacking your back line, going to attack your supports, you or your other support player, also falling super far back behind your team doesn't allow your team to turn around and help you. And that's what the dive DPS players want. They want to separate you from your team. So remember, when you're getting dove, try to get in your mind to walk forward, walk up closer to your tanks, walk up closer to your DPS players, let them know either in the text chat or even better, if you feel comfortable communicating in voice, to say, hey, and you don't have to yell at your team. You can just say, hey, they're diving supports. Can one person help us? Can somebody turn around? Or better yet, when you see the dive player getting ready to set up and they're getting ready to come in, say, hey, Psylocke on the right side. Hey, Spider-Man's about to dive in. Let your team know clear and calmly what is going on, and that will allow them to help you. Sometimes just your communication with your team is going to also win you games. If your team is new to the game, they are not going to be turning around and paying attention. So if you just know that going into the match, you just letting them know sometimes will make them turn around and realize. Otherwise, they may not ever turn around at all in the game, especially even in high ranks. This still happens, but you need to communicate to your team what the problem is. If you're getting killed over and over again as a support player, let them know, hey, we're getting dove, we're getting killed, and now they know to look. And that doesn't mean they're always going to help you, they're always going to do the right thing, but I can guarantee you one thing: if you don't say anything and you don't let them know, they're definitely not going to do anything. So just remember, communication is key, and try to keep it useful. It is frustrating when you're constantly dying over and over again. You want to yell at your team, hey, what are you guys doing? No one's helping us. But if you just keep it to the facts, keep it to the point, let them know what's going on, you're going to see a lot more positive results, and you're going to win more games because of it. And my last tip for this YAP session is going to be ultimate. Your ultimate abilities in Marvel Rivals, the one that you build up over time and you finally get your big ultimate and you want to use it, that is the most important ability in the game, besides what I said earlier, your availability. But ultimates can literally win you or cost you games if you use them correctly or incorrectly. Now, ultimates, sometimes when you're new, you just get the ultimate and you're excited. You just want to pop your ultimate right away. And then, no one's there, or you pop your ultimate and you didn't need it because you guys are already winning the fight. So the more that you play, you will get used to this, and it will definitely take a little bit of time, but timing of your ultimate is key. One of the biggest tips that I can give you guys, if you are support players, I'm a support main, is to try to do whatever you can to avoid using both of your support ultimates at the same time. So if you're Cloak and Dagger and you're playing with a rocket and you see the rocket throw the beacon out and the enemy team is popping ultimates, it might be tempting for you to say, hey, well, we might die. I need to pop my ultimate too, even though we have the rocket ult. Try to save this as an absolute last resort, because if you can stagger your support ultimates and you see that another support player is using their ultimate, or they just used their ultimate, try to save yours unless it's absolutely necessary, but do your best to save your ultimate ability for the next fight or the other big ult on the enemy team. You are a Vanguard or a DP. If you're a Vanguard or a DPS player, when you walk out into a match, one of the first things you should be doing is starting to look at the enemy team and start to decide who you're going to save your ultimate for. And not in every scenario will you specifically just save your ultimate for one other player on the enemy team, but if you are a Magneto main, you should be walking out and saying, hey, do they have a Star-Lord? Do they have a Punisher? If they do, you ideally want to, you don't want to just get your ult and pop it and try to get a kill with your Magneto ultimate. You want to use your ultimate to counter the enemy team. And this will take some research, because I obviously can't sit here and give you a list of the counters for every single hero, but there are a lot of videos and information out there. So say you are a Magneto main, you can go out and look online, or you can look for a video on the best ultimates to counter with Magneto, or Magneto counters these ultimates, and you can get a list. You should be able to get it, online, just searching on Google. You should get a list of all the heroes that your hero's ultimate counters. And when you start to walk out and identify who you can use your ultimate on the enemy team to counter, or on the enemy team to, to get a kill. But that is one tip that I think is really underrated, because your ultimate, if you time it correctly and you use it correctly, a lot of times the team that wins the match is the team that used their ultimates the most efficiently and in the best way possible. If you guys made it this far in the video, I just want to say I really appreciate it. I'm a small content creator, so every like and every comment really helps. If you guys can drop a comment, let me know any other tips that you want to see. If you have any questions, leave them down below and I will try to respond to every single person. I also live stream Marvel Rivals, so if you hit the notification bell, you'll get notified when I go live. You can feel free to stop by, say what's up, and you definitely look for more of these videos soon. Thanks.